Styling tales about radical responsibility. And today's tale is about the reflexive mechanism of when you lose a certain level of certainty in your life, whether it's about yourself or about a relationship or about even the world itself or how to be in the world. When you lose a certain kind of grip that you thought was real on the world, one of the ways to try to keep yourself safe from this uncertainty is to make something wrong. And it could be this, what can be wrong could be easily the other person. Like if you're in a partnership or you're in a team and something is changing, you're making the other person wrong or bad for creating this uncertainty in your life. But it could also be yourself. You can make yourself bad as a way to avoid feeling the feelings and the emotion of the uncertainty of what we call this liquid state. And the liquid state is really any moment where you come close, you come to face a part of yourself, a part of how you saw yourself, or a way that you saw the world, but it could be a way that you see like yourself as a competent person and you're faced with a level of incompetence, and that would not be okay with your self-image. Or you might have a self-image that you're actually a failure, or that you have to try hard because life is hard. Like you might have got this idea, and maybe you're coming closer to the possibility that you can be loved, or you can be in a team, or that it's actually impossible to fail because you're in an evolutionary process. Like there's some of these liquid states that touch these big, profound wounded identity. For example, also you might have this sense that you're alone or you cannot trust anybody. And then maybe on your path, you're getting to this place where you realize that you long for a team and you're starting to love people and to trust people. And that goes so against how you've survived in the world up to now, that there's this groundlessness that appears. There's this instability where you cannot no longer say, people are like this, and therefore the only way I have to survive, it's like this. It's that we're in this flux in a way, that people are changing, you are changing, and because we've really have not been trained to live in this groundlessness, in this uncertainty, there's this glue that happened between being uncertain, being in the unknown, losing a part of my self-image, of my identity. All of that is bad. You know, contrary to, in a way, modern culture that is a cult of personality, and a cult where it's about knowing, and it's about knowing where you're going, and it's about having a strategy, and it's about knowing how to position yourself and strategize yourself around how other people basically are going to, betray you. It's a completely different orientation when you start entering a world in higher levels of responsibility, or let's say regenerative culture, where so much of your strategies that have been rewarded in the past about keeping yourself safe no longer function. And it would be this, and so I can imagine this war happening of, hey, I've worked so long to have an identity that works, in which I can survive, and now as I'm growing and growing matrix, those survival systems are being taken away from me, and what I get instead is uncertainty. The box, this identity, the box and gremlin system will say, no, we need to keep ourselves safe. And one of the ways to be safe is to find an enemy, is to find what is bad, what is going wrong, who is making it that I am in uncertainty instead of safety. And it's so huge. I mean, there's a part that is so personal that you may realize to what degree you start looking in your life, to what degree you are reflexively making people that you love your enemy, making them bad, so that you can, so as to keep a grip of this map of people are like this, and so therefore my way to survive is to not trust or to seduce or to be adaptive. And if you lose this certainty about how people are, then your own strategies collapse under this new relationship to the world. So there's something very personal in this survival mechanism, but there's also something very cultural, and in that you can observe that as like the world and even nation states or cultures or people with different languages or with different tribes, the way that they've learned to keep themselves safe is to make somebody the enemy, to create an external danger around which we can sort of come together and have this common, this is bad. And it could be this person is bad, this other tribe is bad, but it could also be an entire group of behavior. And that's where this moral comes in. It's like, at some point it was gay behavior is bad, and now we have this common enemy. Or not being religious is bad, and now we have this common enemy. But also vegans saying people who are eating meat are bad, and then we have this common enemy, and we can find this group of people in which we belong. And I don't know if you can feel how juicy that feels to rally people around this similar idea and this similar moral of something is bad, and therefore what our life is dedicated to is to protect ourselves from this enemy. So this is more this cultural impact. But the mechanism is really the same. And for me, part of that mechanism is trying to find out in yourself, where do those morals come from? Where did you get this line in which this is good behavior and this is bad behavior? And that's part of dismantling this strategy, this survival mechanism of reflexively making things bad, is find out what in you has attached a behavior to bad. Like, where did you get it from? Like, was it from your parents? Was it from church? What are the sins and what are the good behaviors that will lead you to heaven? Was it from an incentive of reward, of being anything that makes me have profit is good behavior, or anything that makes people love me is good behavior? So is it an incentive of belonging, like you're trying to manipulate people into belonging? And that's an experiment that you can do. Is in your book, make a list of what is your box, what does your survival system consider good behavior, and what is your survival mechanism consider bad behavior. And you're starting having an inner map of this grip. I mean, another part of this strategy that I want to talk about is how in both ways, whether it's you making other people bad or you're making yourself bad, but it's a way to manipulate, and especially it's a way to manipulate yourself to behave in a way that matches this standard that you're using, this moral standard that you're using. And like I said, for most people, that moral standards it comes from an external authority. So you're giving away your authority, your power, your choices to something or somebody who declared this is right and this is wrong, this is good and this is bad, so as to have a certainty about how to behave in a way to be rewarded and maybe not punished. And I think that's huge. It's an immense like you might find really an immense grief of having given your life away to these moral standards that, for me, if I look at them, the purpose of the moral standards is about it's about making a profit. It's about conquering other people. It's about dominating other people. This is the whole colonialist movement, or mindset thought where it's about being at war. So this whole crusade, that was the church war. But the whole Israel-Palestine, it's based on these morals that basically follow a psychopathic agenda, and then realizing that you've given your life away to these morals as a way to try to keep you in check and have the certainty of, if I do this, somebody made me the promise that it will result in a reward, whether it's money, whether it's love, whether it's belonging, whether it's heaven forever. And it's like, wow, if you take your authority back from that, if you take your center back from that, and enter a world of radical responsibility where, at the core, you are radically responsible for the choice that you make and not the morals, an entire world of new possibilities, of new behaviors, of new research becomes available. And what you sacrifice is losing this compass of whether you being a good person or you being a person that will be rewarded. And I think that's it. It is one of the elements of building regenerative culture. It is a culture centered on radical responsibility, where your choices are your own, and therefore this entire thoughtware of right, wrong, and good and bad is abandoned, completely abandoned.